Everyone, and welcome to the channel. And today on the channel I'm going to be talking about a drama thriller film called Infinite Storm. This film actually came out in theaters back in March, but it is finally on VOD and I finally got a chance to check it out. Before I get into my thoughts on this film, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, comment below your thoughts on this film, and also turn the notification bell so you never miss any video that I upload, and I upload every week. And now without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on this brand new film. Directed by Malgorzata Samoska, Infinite Storm is about when a climber gets caught in a blizzard, she encounters a stranded stranger and must get them both down the mountain before nightfall. The film stars Naomi Watts and Billy Howe. Infinite Storm was one of those films that just kind of came out by surprise. I saw one trailer for it about a week before the premiere of this film, and when the film came out, it was only in theaters a week, and I didn't even get to catch it. I did catch some people's reviews, and I didn't really like this film, and it doesn't have a very good score on IMDb, so I really was curious to see what is so bad about this film. So I went ahead and checked this film out, and to my pleasant surprise, I don't think this film is as bad as people say it is. The story of Infinite Storm follows Pam, and she goes on this hike in Mount Washington, and as she is going on this hike, a storm breaks out on top of the mountain, and presumably this film is technically taking place in Mount Washington, but it was actually filmed in Slovenia on the Alps mountains because it's actually cheaper to film there, so that is why they did not film in Mount Washington, and this is a smaller movie, so I do understand why they saved that money. And so when Pam is on this hike and the storm breaks out, she actually sees these footprints, and she ends up seeing this man that actually needs help. Now, in this story, his name is John. Now, his real life name we don't know. Even in the end of the story, where they disclose details about John, they don't disclose his name either. When Pam finds John, the storm on the mountain is actually growing worse, so both individuals have to find a way to get back down to the mountain safely. And in this story, I've seen a lot of criticism for this story. A lot of the criticism has been based on if this story really is that realistic. Now I have to say, there are certain parts in this movie that I felt that the film was not realistic, especially when Pam initially falls into this big snow hole and she somehow manages a way to get out of it. But for the sake of this movie, there's a little bit of movie magic. There's parts in this film where John definitely should probably be dead, but we have a little bit of magic with that as well. So I do see the criticisms for this film, but the good things about this film is the cinematography. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I like the whole snow on the mountains. I love the shots of the rivers. I really feel like when I'm watching this movie, I feel like I will be darn cold in this movie. It just feels like the temperatures are really below freezing in this whole environment that these characters are in, and they have to really use their resources to really get back down this mountain. Now, I'm not going to say throughout this film that the dialogue is very good throughout, because there are portions in this film where the dialogue could be definitely better, and there could be a little bit more relationship with these characters. Part of the journey of this story is following these two characters and having a very inspirational story. You have a woman and a male here that don't know each other at all, and when she discovers this man, he is in disarray. He is very depressed. He really has given up a lot of hope, and you do learn later on in the movie why he has given up hope. I'm not going to disclose that in case people really want to watch this film. And then you also learn things about Pam in her past life. They show flashbacks of her children. Now, I'm not going to disclose what happened to her children or what really that whole situation is, but it does clear it up at the end of the film. The film is also broken up into 3 parts. So you have the first part that is mainly Pam's journey going up the mountain as the storm is starting to brew. Then you have the second part that is really just focused on her and John trying to get down this mountain. Then you have the aftermath. I'm not going to give away spoilers for that aftermath, but there is a portion where you get to see everything that unfolded after this whole journey concludes. And I really had a little bit of negatives for this film. Like I said, some of the parts in this film, they could have been a little bit more realistic. I'm not going to say the relationship between Pam and John in this is always the best or really crystal clear throughout this film, There are also some things that I did notice with the camera work. Now, I did say the cinematography was really good, and it really is, seeing these mountains and such, but there are parts in this film, especially towards the beginning of the film, where I don't know if they used a different camera, but it's really fuzzy in the beginning. I definitely noticed that the camera was kind of low grade, not like really low budget, but I could definitely see that the camera was a little fuzzy. And there were other parts like that I noticed throughout this film, like when Pam is hiking up the mountain and it's really cold out, he's wearing a tank top. And I thought that that was really weird. And then they cut to another shot and she's all of a sudden wearing something else as she just happened to magically switch clothes within a matter of seconds. That was just something I really noticed that was an error throughout this film, but really nothing really else along errors in this film. I will say that even though this film doesn't always feel like it's always really realistic, I think that the story is good enough here, especially for a streaming kind of movie. Now for a theater movie, I can see where people probably would not really like the fact that they paid, $10, $15 to see this movie. I actually rented this for about $6, and I think for what I paid for this movie to just rent it and check it out once, I think that it was an inspirational enough story. Now, towards the end of this film, I thought it was very interesting that we don't know a lot about Pam's love life. We know a little bit about her children, and we don't get to learn more about that. And even online, there isn't a lot of things about her past life. You know that she is a search and rescue kind of person, and that's really all we really know about her. So it would have been cool to know a little bit more, but I think that she's one of those people that are really humble and really doesn't want the fame anyway. And of course, John, you do learn some of the stuff that really drove him to really go up that mountain. And I like how this film wrapped up and how we really got to learn about different characters throughout here and their lives and what really drove them to go up to this mountain. And I can tell you this, I would never want to go hiking on a mountain. I just don't feel comfortable doing something like that. So this film definitely confirms to not hike on a mountain, especially when a storm is brewing. Not too smart. And then the last point that I would like to bring up about this film is it touches on mental health. Having this whole fear of if you're going to make it, if you're going to survive this whole mess, and really just touching and just trying to really feel that you really belong in this world and really feel like you're worthy. And it does touch on that in this film, and I felt the inspirational message that this film was trying to put across. I never felt preachy or anything like that, but I think the film, for what the runtime for this film is, I don't think it's too long. I think it's the perfect runtime, and I do think at times I can see where people would think that this film might be kind of boring and not a lot going on. I can definitely see that. I think this is not a bad film to watch and stream. For the price, what I paid, I think I got my money's worth for enough of an inspirational story, and I really was invested for most of the story. It's not a perfect film by any means. It has its flaws. It doesn't have always the best dialogue or always the most realistic things going on, but I think for what the story is trying to accomplish, I think it accomplishes that, and I'm gonna give a score of this film a 3 out of 5. Now, I don't really think that this will probably be a rewatchable film for me. I watched it once, and that's probably it. Can't see myself buying this film or adding it to the collection, but it's not a bad film, not a bad watch. If you guys are interested, definitely check it out. If you have seen it, drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was meh? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next review.